the message that shook the stars. The galaxy had seen empires rise and fall for millions of years, but none had lasted as long as the Dorvathian sovereignty. They ruled over 200 worlds, their silver fleets patrolling every corner of known space. They brought order, they said. They brought peace. But the price of that peace was obedience, total and absolute. Humanity had joined the galactic community only 50 years ago. Earth was a backwater planet, barely worth noticing. Humans were loud, emotional, and unpredictable. They argued about everything, even among themselves. The other species found them amusing at best, irritating at worst. But humans were good workers, and their colony ships had spread across a dozen systems, building farms, factories, and small settlements. The colonies were peaceful. Families raised children under alien stars. Farmers grew crops in red soil. Engineers built homes that reached toward purple skies. Life was simple, hopeful, and quiet. That was until the day the Dorvathians decided to send a message. It happened without warning. No ultimatum, no declaration, no reason. The Dorva fleet appeared above New Haven, a thriving human colony of 15 million souls. Families were eating breakfast. Children were walking to school. Workers were starting their shifts. Then the sky turned white. Orbital cannons fired in perfect unison. Cities evaporated in seconds. Mountains melted into glass. Oceans boiled away. Within 3 hours, New Haven was gone. Every single person. 15 million voices silenced in an instant. But the Dorvathians did not stop there. They moved to the next colony. Then the next. Then the next. Aurora Station, Red Frontier, Paradise Falls. Each time they broadcast the destruction across the entire galaxy. Every species watched on their screens. As human cities burned, as human children screamed, as human mothers tried to shield their babies from fire that came from the heavens, the Dorvians wanted everyone to see. They wanted the universe to understand who held the power. In total, they killed 22 billion humans across 8 colonies, nearly half of humanity's population outside Earth. And they did it all while the cameras rolled. When it was over, a Dorvathian commander appeared on every screen in the galaxy. His face was calm, almost bored. He spoke in a voice that carried no emotion. "This is the cost of expansion without permission," he said. "This is what happens when lesser species forget their place. Let this be a lesson to all who dare reach beyond their worth." Earth received the broadcasts in real time. There was no way to stop it. No way to look away. Every human on the homeworld watched their brothers, sisters, parents, and friends die. They watched and could do nothing. The grief was suffocating. The rage was deeper than any ocean. For 3 days, Earth went silent. No governments made statements. No leaders appeared on screens. The United Earth Council locked itself behind closed doors. The galaxy waited, expecting pleas for mercy or cries for justice. They expected humans to beg, to negotiate, to fall to their knees. But on the 4th day, something different happened. A single broadcast came from Earth. No fancy production, no crowd of officials, just one woman, standing in front of a gray wall. She wore a simple military uniform. Her face was hard as stone. Her eyes burned with something the galaxy had not seen in humans before. She spoke only one sentence. "You have killed our children, and now you will learn what monsters look like." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, species shifted uncomfortably. The Dorvians laughed. One human woman with empty threats meant nothing to an empire of warships and weapons. They had crushed rebellions before. They had exterminated entire civilizations who dared to resist. What could one grieving species possibly do? They would soon find out. Within a week, strange things began happening. Dorvathian supply ships disappeared between systems. Military outposts stopped responding to calls. Scout vessels sent to investigate never came back. At first, the sovereignty blamed pirates or equipment failures. But then the pattern became clear. Someone was hunting them. Something fast, something silent. Something that left no survivors. The few automated distress signals they recovered all said the same thing. Ships appeared from nowhere, weapons the sensors could not identify, and then nothing but static. The Dorvathians sent a battle group to investigate. 40 warships, enough firepower to level a planet. They jumped into the Outer Veil sector, where the last 3 outposts had gone dark. What they found was not an enemy fleet. They found wreckage, their own ships twisted and torn apart, floating in the void like broken toys. And then the humans appeared. Not from hyperspace, not from behind asteroids. They came from below, through the fabric of space itself. Black ships, smooth and angular, completely silent. No engines, no heat, no energy signatures, just shadows that moved like living things. The battle lasted 17 minutes. The Dorvathian fleet fired everything they had. Missiles, plasma cannons, kinetic rounds. The human ships dodged through the attacks, like they knew where every shot would be before it was fired. Then they returned fire. Blue beams of light cut through shields, like they were not even there. Holes collapsed inward, as if crushed by invisible hands. By the time it was over, only 2 Dorvathian ships remained. They fled in terror, carrying a message back to their empire. The humans were no longer the weak species they remembered. Something had changed. Something terrible had been born from grief and rage. Earth had become something new, and the galaxy was about to learn what humanity truly meant, the birth of the Silent War. The survivors of the Outer Veil massacre returned to the Dorvathian capital world of Cath Prime, their ships scarred and their crews shattered. They told stories that sounded like madness, ships that appeared from nowhere, weapons that bent reality itself, humans who fought like they had already accepted death. The Dorvathian High Command dismissed most of it as trauma and panic. Surely their officers had simply been caught off guard. Surely the humans had gotten lucky with a surprise attack. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted. For the first time in 1,000 years, the sovereignty felt something unfamiliar: uncertainty. Meanwhile, Earth had gone completely dark. Every human colony that remained, every outpost, every station, pulled back behind a wall of silence. No trade, no communication, no diplomacy. It was as if humanity had vanished from the galaxy entirely. Only their ships remained, black phantoms that appeared and disappeared at will, striking at Dorvathian targets with surgical precision. The attacks were never random. Humans did not waste bullets on civilians or merchants. They targeted military installations, supply depots, and command centers. Every strike was calculated, every loss measured. But what terrified the Dorvathians most was the silence. No demands, no warnings, no messages, just death delivered in the dark. Back on Earth, the transformation was total. Every factory, every shipyard, every laboratory had been converted to a single purpose: war. Not the war of nations squabbling over borders, but the war of survival, the war of vengeance. Humanity had united in a way they never had before. All the old conflicts, all the ancient hatreds melted away in the heat of shared grief. Scientists who once researched medicine now built weapons. Artists who painted beauty now designed camouflage patterns. Teachers trained children not in math and literature, but in strategy and resilience. Every human became a part of the machine because every human had lost someone. In the depths of Antarctica, buried beneath 3 miles of ice, engineers worked on Project Silence. It was humanity's most ambitious creation, born from theories that had once been considered impossible. They had cracked the secret of quantum displacement, the ability to move through space without traveling through it. It was this technology that powered the black ships, allowing them to appear anywhere, anytime, without warning. But the ships were only the beginning. Deep in the asteroid belt, human miners hollowed out entire rocks, transforming them into hidden fortresses. These bases held weapons that could shatter moons, factories that built drones by the thousands, and enough supplies to wage war for centuries. Earth was not just fighting back. Earth was preparing for a conflict that would outlast generations. The Dorvathian sovereignty, meanwhile, tried to respond. They reinforced their borders, doubled patrols, and installed new detection systems. But it did not matter. The humans had learned to move between the cracks of reality itself. Sensors designed to detect ships in normal space were useless. against vessels that existed half in another dimension. Then came the first major battle at Korvac Station, a massive Dorvathian military hub that housed over 100,000 soldiers. It was supposed to be impregnable, protected by shields, orbital cannons, and 3 full battle fleets. The Sovereignty believed it was safe. They were wrong. The humans did not come from space. They came from inside. Infiltration teams had been smuggled onto the station weeks earlier, hidden in supply crates, disguised as maintenance drones, even copied into digital form and uploaded into the station's network. When the signal came, they struck all at once. Explosions rippled through the station's core. Life support failed in critical sections. Defense turrets turned on their own ships. Chaos erupted as Devathian soldiers scrambled to respond, only to find enemies already behind their lines. Human strike teams moved through corridors like ghosts, silent and unstoppable. The battle fleets tried to intervene, but the black ships appeared in perfect formation, cutting off every escape route. Kinetic rounds tore through holes. Energy beams melted armor. And in less than 4 hours, Korvac Station was gone, not captured, destroyed. Every soldier, every ship, every piece of equipment reduced to debris. But the humans left something behind. Carved into the metal of a destroyed command deck, in letters 10 feet tall, were the words for the 22 billion. The message spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Species who had once mocked humanity now watched in stunned silence. The Dorvathians, the unshakable empire, were being torn apart piece by piece. And humanity showed no signs of stopping, no signs of mercy, no signs of negotiation. Fear began to spread through the Sovereignty. Soldiers deserted. Officers questioned orders. Entire fleets refused to patrol human space, knowing that every mission could be their last. The empire that had ruled for 1,000 years was fracturing, not from external invasion, but from internal collapse. Because when an empire is built on fear, it only takes one greater fear to bring it down. And humanity had become that fear. They were no longer the weak, divided species that begged for acceptance. They had become the nightmare that hunted in the dark, the silent fury that never forgot and never forgave. The Dorvathians had wanted to send a message. They had succeeded, but the message they received in return was written in blood and fire. Humanity had learned that in a galaxy of predators, the only way to survive was to become the apex predator. And once unleashed, that beast would not stop until every debt was paid in full.